So this is my first time, and so I'm looking for content, organization, everything, transitions, too much, too boring, all of it. And I know I'm going to get feedback. So, yeah.
Oh, you will definitely get feedback.
Oh, honey, I know. I told my husband, I was like, these are my friends, but it's the firing line, too. I'm talking to you on camera. In a loving way, yes, I'm feeling love. Okay.
Okay. Our speaker today is on a mission to help you learn how to improve and protect your brain from Alzheimer's disease. Judy Scare has been helping and inspiring individuals to get healthier for over 15 years as a health and lifestyle coach. She has coached thousands of people from losing weight to improving their fitness level, lowering their cholesterol, stressing less, and overall reducing their risk for all chronic disease and dependence on medication. She reminds people, there is only you, so make the investment in yourself. Judy also created a wellness program for a division of a Fortune 100 company. When she's not coaching or speaking to groups, she enjoys hiking, dancing in the kitchen while cooking, and listening to Pearl Jam or planning her next Where's Judy adventure. Please join me in welcoming Judy Scare.
Good morning, everybody. So glad to be here with
morning.
you. So, remember the time you went into your pantry or your refrigerator, you opened the doors, you were looking for something when you walked up there, and then your mind goes totally blank. You couldn't remember what it was you were looking for? And then it comes to you, oh, that's what I needed. I needed the ketchup. And you walk away, and you go back to what you were doing. That's a good thing that we remembered, right? And I've been there, done that plenty of times, and it's still going on. And often I've thought, should I be worried about this? The good news is this type of memory lapse is a natural part of the aging process. What is not natural is not knowing who the refrigerator belongs to and why your car keys are in it. And that is the difference between normal aging and the signs of Alzheimer's. My passion for speaking today about preventing Alzheimer's happened totally by accident. A couple of years ago, I was looking back over some lab work that my doctor had requested, and I was reviewing the results as I had before, and all of a sudden, my jaw just dropped. Wow, whoa, what happened? And I slowly sat down in the chair, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. I read it over and over and over again. This has to be a mistake. It was like time stood still, and this proverbial cosmic 2x4 had just hit me broadside. Pay attention. Pay attention. I had discovered that I have one of the identified genes for that puts me at risk for Alzheimer's disease. It's called the APOE4 gene, and it's not. We all have a copy of the gene, but there's some of us that are more special that have the one that puts us very at risk. Wow. I won't tell you exactly the words I said because they're probably not appropriate for the audience. But needless to say, I was really upset. And then I just got really angry. And then denial. What the hell am I going to do? I couldn't believe it. How could this be? You know, there was no known history of Alzheimer's in my family. My dad lived a great big full life, and my mom is still alive, and I'm like, still the disbelief. Should I tell my husband? Should I tell my sister? Should I tell anybody? As I agonized over this information, and why the heck the doctor never pointed this out to me, it was beyond me. So So I eventually pulled myself together. And I did what I always do. I started researching everything I could learn to find out more about this mind-robbing disease. And one, that there's no cure for or cause. And what can I do about it? So as I read through the scientific literature, I learned that Alzheimer's, like all chronic diseases, doesn't predict our fate. That's some good news. In fact, it turns out that we can change the way our genes express by the lifestyle choices that we make. That sounded pretty good to me. I felt like, yeah, okay, I got some information now, I can do something with this. Something I could work with. So as a result of finding out this information totally by accident, I've made it my mission to share with you the growing body of scientific evidence which suggests that Alzheimer's is very much preventable, not inevitable. And that we, all of us, can play an active role and be instrumental in the outcomes as we age. Before we jump into the how, let's review some of the statistics about Alzheimer's. According to the CDC, Alzheimer's is the 6th leading cause of death in the US currently. And it's thought that in the coming years, in fact, probably sooner than we think, it's going to be the 3rd leading cause of death. Every 65 seconds, down from 66, a new patient in the US is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And the scientific data, which is very, very interesting, shows very strong correlations between obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and dementia. Not to mention depression, head trauma, and sleep apnea, all of which, if you think about it, are lifestyle-related types of diseases. In 2018, the cost of care for Alzheimer's and other dementias is estimated to be $227 billion. And like I mentioned earlier, there is no cure for Alzheimer's at this time. There have been over 400 clinical trials, all of which have failed or been pulled from the clinical trial testing. So wow, those are pretty scary statistics, right? So there's an upside to this. We can keep our brains growing as we age and stave off Alzheimer's. Using the word brain, I created 5 strategies to keep you from losing your mind tomorrow. The first letter in brain is be still. Unwind, disconnect, and meditate. Or another form of disconnecting. Quieting your mind improves your memory, restores our neurons back to health, and as we all know, chronic stress plays havoc with both our mental health and our physical health. So it's really critical to take moments to be still. The R stands for restore. The old saying, sleep on it, helps to restore and revitalize our neurons and help mop up the toxins in our brain. You may notice things often seem more clear after a good night's sleep. I know when I play word cookies at night, I can't figure out as many words as I can in the morning. Activity. Physical intentional exercise has been dubbed the miracle grow for the brain. It helps, as there's a thought that long ago that as we were aging, our brains were shrinking. But what we do know now is our brains continue to grow. They're neuroplastic. They're beautiful. I is for interest in learning new things, and interaction with other people socially and being socially engaged. And the N in nutrition stands for eating plants, mostly a plant-based diet, because what we do know is the standard American diet creates inflammation in our bodies, and chronic inflammation leads to chronic disease, including Alzheimer's. And according to Dr. Michael Greger, food always trumps genes. So I'm hoping practicing at least one of these brain strategies today is a great way to start to improve and grow your brain tomorrow. And I hope you'll give one a try. And remember, Alzheimer's is preventable, not inevitable. 9 minutes and 13 seconds, so that's perfect. Okay.
Judy, just one quick question.
Yeah.
What was the I in brain?
Oh, that's for interest?
Interest.
Yeah, so you want to expand your interest, and primarily what has been learned is when you're learning new things, we have cognitive reserve, which we want to continue to develop. And so there's a lot of memory games that are out there like Sudoku, and I play word cookies, and those are good. There are a lot of memory recall, and it does help build the brain. But what more recently, the neuroscientists have found that when we're learning an entirely new, be it a language or a dance or something that's totally unfamiliar with you, it's even a bigger benefit to your cognitive reserve and cellular brain growth. So does that help?
I think.
And then the social interaction is like ginormous. So.
And I think also is there's been, well, for some time there's been a lot of research on brain research on the neuroplasticity of the
Yes,
brain.
exactly.
And when you start doing, for instance, thank you, Sandy, the video that you sent me of Dr. Joe Dispenza, talking about, and one of the things, not only him, but a few others, that if you do every day the same things, the brain is going to fire in the same way.
Yeah.
And you get into that kind of a habitual thing, and then there is no growth. And it's like, I mean, the brain becomes very stable because, I mean, there's not, if you start doing things or just changing things around and doing things differently or pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and so forth, where you allow the brain to start building new neuron connections and firing in different ways, then that helps the brain continue to develop and transform, and that would keep a person more likely not to have those diseases that are more age-related diseases such as Alzheimer's and
your mild cognitive impairment.
It's a fascinating topic. So I want to make sure, and be careful too, guys, because we don't want to eat up too much of Judy's time. That's all right. I'm with you though. I kind of like, you get excited. I want to ask a whole lot of questions, and I'm going to self-manage and keep that back. But Judy, who is your audience? Just so that we're clear.
Yeah, you know, I've from an age perspective, you know, I was thinking about this yet again. There's really about a 40s, because when I was thinking about, you know, Alzheimer's, really the onset is around 65.
Okay.
You know, so I really want to be speaking to people in their 40s.
Okay.
And so I haven't targeted, you know, is it male or female? I have and then I haven't, because females are more susceptible. The research shows that women are there's more Alzheimer's showing up in women than there are men. But that could be from a longevity standpoint as well, because women outlive men.
What about the environment that you might be speaking?
Yeah, I was thinking, again, you know, I was in the shower today going, well, this totally fits into corporate wellness.
Yep.
You know, so I've also thought about talking to
Yep.
health professionals who need continuing education credits.
And they would pay.
And they would pay.
Sorry.
Right, yeah, and they would pay, yes. So from the clinical side, because I can get more into the clinical side, you know, and address that. In fact, a version of this from a while back was given to some people from the American Psychiatric Association. It was just a brain webinar that somebody else did of my work. And they were like real excited about what they had heard, you know, from the webinar I created.
Yeah.
So you can scale it. You can get more technical if you've got that audience.
Exactly,
or you can be higher level for not.
Yeah, for the kind of, I don't want to say the average person, but
what can you do today?
You know,
in your life?
what can you do today to, you know, be strong for tomorrow?
And that's what I hear this brain alley.
Yeah.
I love
I
the
like
acronym.
that. I do too.
Yeah.
I like that.
Super
That's
great.
Perfect.
Yes, because it helps us remember.
Exactly. That was the whole point. Yeah, that was the whole point. You should. I was like M's and this and that, and I finally came up with like, well, duh, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to give you feedback. So I have nothing negative to say. I thought you rocked it. I thought it was a great flow. I thought you took on something that could be like, I think you, by sharing your own personal story, You talked about how you were invested in it, why you were talking about it.
Yeah.
And you're clearly a picture of someone who's really, taken the lifestyle stuff on. It was great information. It wasn't too much information. It was a great acronym. So I thought, the only thing I had that I said is the very first time when you said that it needs to be preventable and not inevitable.
Yeah.
You said it at the end.
Oh, and
And in the middle when you said it, I thought you could have put a little bit more punch to it.
oh, okay.
Maybe just, I don't know, paused a little bit more.
Yeah,
with it, But other than that, I have nothing, I heard nothing that I would change. I thought you did.
Because I was wondering if it was too many statistics, and then how I put them in there, if it was too
I liked it. For me,
Okay.
it wasn't, I didn't get bored with it. I thought it backed up what you were saying. I thought it was practical.
Okay.
I was with you the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, so the only statistic that I was a little confused about is you made some reference to going from 60
Oh, right, yeah, just
down
leave
from
it. Yeah.
66%, and I was like, well, what does that mean? Why
Yeah,
did that
yeah,
happen,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then I kind of got lost for a couple minutes.
Okay, so
or
just
just a
go with
second.
what it is, 65.
Yeah, just go with 65. I mean, it wasn't necessary. I have to agree. I thought, given the fact that this was the first time you delivered this,
Mhm.
and you were reading it, which usually kind of creates a whole other a dynamic, I thought you did a great job. You had a lot of energy and emotion. I do also think that the Alzheimer's is preventable, not inevitable. Could have maybe been a little bit earlier.
Okay.
I don't know, or some sort of punch. There's something more to kind of make that that impact, if it's necessary. Maybe that's a question to ask: is it necessary for that phrase to have more impact,
Okay.
or does that come somewhere else? I thought you were funny. You had some really great jokes. I really love the refrigerator joke
Yeah,
and the keys, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so me. And what the health, I think you threw that in there at some point. And I thought, so a couple of things in the very beginning, I think your intro needs some work.
Yeah.
I think you can shorten it a little bit
Mhm.
and maybe give it some punch, maybe just make it a little bit more kind of fun and personal and.
So do you mean the whole refrigerator door thing?
No, that
The
is
intro that
red.
came-
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
what was
Okay.
read.
Okay.
I think, some of those things in the middle,
Yeah.
maybe just kind of
boring.
unnecessary.
Yeah,
I love the fact that you added in the things that you did on,
Okay.
personal time. I think that's great. And then, and this is kind of a personal thing. I see some speakers do it, some don't. I don't think it's necessary to say thank you and good morning.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, in the very beginning, it all just depends on how much time you have, and if you have had an opportunity to work the room beforehand,
Yeah.
you've gotten all of that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
you kind of
that's a
wanna,
great point. Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's it for me. I thought you
Okay.
did a great job.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how passionate are you to give this presentation?
Oh, I'm all over it. Yeah.
Let that power shine through, or
Okay.
like punch it, like Christy was saying?
Okay.
Maybe add a little more stories, less, I think, I agree with you, maybe less content, less informational content,
More
and
stories.
more like feeling, like,
Oh, okay.
like maybe not just about yourself, but
Right.
stories about people you may have known.
Yes, okay, okay, yeah. And I just started doing, and I think I'll pick up, because I don't have, my only personal experience is this. However, I'm gonna start speaking for the Alzheimer's Association, so I'm learning.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as a volunteer, which is
That's
totally what I
okay.
want to do.
That's
Right, yeah.
exposure, networking.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
And so just the two ladies that I presented with the day that I had to do my presentation, I just learned a ton from them, because one mother has passed on, one mother's in the process. So I think that will be really rich. And then, of course, there's a lot of books that I have that I'm like combing through. So let me ask you something. Now, can you take like a story from a book? Like, a situation, like.
I know
you
of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like Mary, whatever, or, because it's, okay, that's all right to do?
It is. I think anytime that you can give reference
Right,
to books, speakers,
Sure.
phrases, whatever, if you're taking it from somewhere else,
Yes.
just say, you know, I read recently.
Oh, okay.
Or,
Yeah,
you know, if it's appropriate, you can give the detail, but,
Right.
you know, just to make sure that nobody thinks that you're.
If you listen to Ken Butch's stuff, like I've got a CDs there, and he says, for every point he makes, he tells a story. And it looks like he has like 23 chapters. He tells a story in each one.
Yeah,
But
Steve,
they're not always
and
stories.
that was gonna be my point on
Yeah.
your comment, because I like the statistics. So it depends on who
Yeah.
you are in the
Right.
audience.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that it was one after the other.
Yeah.
And I might break that up a little
Oh,
bit.
right,
With a
yeah.
little vignette about each thing, which would give it just a little bit
A
more
little
richness.
more like, it's not the dryness,
So
but the
I'd be
little like,
happy,
oh,
and
yeah.
Steve would also be happy.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we-
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so you're not feeling like you're drowning
Yeah,
us in
yeah,
statistics.
exactly, because
But
I
the
felt like it was a little
statistics
heavy
are
on statistics.
important in your situation because, in particular, when you were talking about the obesity, the lifestyle diseases that we're
Right.
seeing a huge rise in,
Right.
I would pause there a little bit. You went through that list really fast.
Yeah.
And to your point, those are the people that you want to get their attention.
Mhm.
You already had my attention because I related to you. I feel like I don't have any family history. I live a healthy lifestyle. Oh, but she, so I'm already paying attention because
Yeah.
out of the blue, your blood work, whatever.
Mhm.
But the people who, and there are more and more, are obese, have diabetes or pre-diabetic on medication, some kind of heart disease, and a little bit of pausing there somehow. And I don't know if you bring in a story, if you just say, here in America or across the world, or depending on who your audience is, maybe that richness of a little bit of context.
Right.
With this list of really heavy-hitting
Mhm.
disease states that really affect
Yeah.
the
That's
onset of
great, yeah.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And just draw them in, try to draw everybody in, healthy people, the people that are pre-diabetic, everybody, whoever it might be.
People are afraid.
Well, it was interesting too. I read, I forget where I got, I'm like always just in it. But next to cancer, people are most frightened about Alzheimer's. Because, you hear about it every day.
I'm most
Pretty
frightened
much.
about Alzheimer's or dementia, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Because you think about what we do.
You just lose
We
control.
live, we use our brains every single day, every interaction. And
Yeah.
it's- Yeah.
How much more time do we have?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right, let me can I make a couple comments?
Absolutely.
All right, so I really did like your presentation, especially since it was your first one, first time I've seen you speak. And since you have your speech written out, one thing I would do
Yeah.
is go back and be brutally look for any type of redundancy that you have
Yeah.
in there, and be very, very brutal about it. And
What do you mean by brutal?
brutal means when you talked about there's no cure for it, but it is preventable type thing. I don't think you need to keep on saying that over and over again.
Okay.
So remember, this was 10 minutes out of 30 minutes, whatever. But I would just, take a look at that.
Okay.
And redundancy, because I did hear you say things twice, through there. I really do like the brain. One thing you might want to consider in the future, and whether it works for you or not, but a lot of the way that you talk and you intersperse images with statistics would lend itself to a creative PowerPoint, presentation, and people can relate to, to certain images.
Sure.
So even with those facts that you had put out, you can have some fun images up there of the difference between 66 and 65 or something. You can kind of get creative on that in order, because that doesn't sound like it that much, but that's like every day.
Yeah.
So that really adds.
that's interesting, Kevin, yeah.
That really adds up. So there are ways that you could probably, pull some together on that. And then next time I would try doing the presentation with no notes in your hand whatsoever,
Right.
because I can tell you have a passion for the subject. You probably internalized a lot of it, and what you'll find is that the more that you give it, there will be certain concepts that that really come to the front of your mind, your brain, like that,
Mhm.
and others that you have written down that you don't even think about giving, and those are probably less important than the ones that come up.
Yes, I agree. When I've done it not structured like that, I was like, I got you.
Yeah.
So thanks.
And great use of humor. Let people laugh at your jokes. Don't keep on going.
Yeah.
Jeff Justice thing.
I was
You just-
wondering, like, okay, how long do I wait?
Yeah. Until
Well, and
they,
it's
until
funny,
they
like,
stop
this is
laughing.
like, this
It's
is
hard.
like an
It's
accelerator.
hard.
When I do this, everybody gets faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't let people laugh.
Okay.
Just let them laugh.
Yeah.
When they stop laughing, then you go on. And Mike will definitely
it's
know.
hard.
It's hard. And that's the one thing that Jeff Justice in the comedy class just has to keep on repeating. Don't tell the next joke until they finish laughing.
Yeah.
Don't tell the next joke until they finish laughing. And it's so true though. Let them enjoy themselves.
Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Sandy.
Okay, quickly, there's,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're almost. Yeah.
You're
You want
fine.
me to
Go
get
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
there's something, what I get is that you stand for active, sustainable living versus the prevention of Alzheimer's.
Hey.
Yeah. So if you want to talk more about that,
I would love to talk more about that.
yeah.
That sounds like a lunch or something.
Yeah.
You're buying, Judy.
Of course. All right.
I have everything everybody else said.
Okay.
I know you were reading, but you still had great eye contact
Yes, you
when
did.
when you were doing it. Great questions to start, got everybody thinking.
Okay.
And I think your structure worked really well. I mean, I didn't get confused or anything like that.
Lord, I was rewriting it like 9 times, going, well, that doesn't look
No,
like.
you got that, you
All
got
right.
that down, you're good.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
All right, Sherry, are you next?
Yeah.